Yeah. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the IESL Batticaloa Center and IESL Eastern Chapter, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to this online session. I am Innovators, Chairman, IESL Batticaloa District Center. So these days, artificial intelligence is a term we hear constantly, whether consciously or unconsciously. But we have already started using AI into our work. However, there is a significant difference between simply using a tool and mastering it effectively. So last August we had a session on privacy side of this technology. We had the session on keeping data and privacy safe in the age of AI. So following that session, we have shifted our focus toward the practical application of these AI tools. So today, we have gathered here this online platform for the enhancing workplace efficiency using AI. So it is designed to help us move beyond the um buzzword AI and how to use it effectively. So first of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Engineer Vinod Raj to accept our invitation. And before I hand over the platform to Engineer Vinod Raj, I would like to invite our Secretary, Engineer Arwaluan, to formally introduce our resource person and proceed with the session, please.
Yeah, thank you,
Over to you, Engineer Arwaluan.
Yeah, so thank you. So welcome to the session on enhancing workplace efficiency using AI. So conducted by Engineer Thangaraja Vinothraj. So he holds a master's degree in computer science and a bachelor's degree in computer engineering with over 20 years of experience in teaching IT and computer science to undergraduate and postgraduate students at a prestigious state university in Sri Lanka. And he is also a certified AI trainer with extensive experience conducting training programs for academic, public, and private sector audiences. So the key takeaways from the session is going to be, number one, understanding the fundamental principles of AI, particularly generative AI, and prompt engineering and responsible AI practices, and applying AI tools to improve productivity and efficiency. So I hope the audience will get a good gist of what this is all about and meaningful takeaways from the session. And we'd like to again thank Engineer Raj for allocating his precious time and commitment. So over to you, Engineer Raj. Another one? Yeah, you can. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Did I go offline? I think I did go offline briefly and come back. Did I go in the middle?
Yeah, towards the end. Is it okay to start now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Engineer Valduvan, for the wonderful introduction given. And also, I would like to thank IESL Eastern Chapter and Batticaloa Chapter for inviting me as a speaker here. Even though it was a last minute arrangement, I don't know whether I'll be able to deliver completely with all of those takeaways that Valluvan was explaining. Anyway, I'll try my level best to give at least some idea about this AI and application of this AI in a workplace practices. So enhancing workplace efficiency using AI. I hope, as Vadulan explained, it was of concern about the security because everything is now online and people are logging into the system and people go online so that every time the data is in question, right? But apart from that, that is, of course, is a serious concern that we have already discussed in some other session. But nevertheless, now we have tools available which supports our enhance the efficiency in the workplaces. So why don't we give a try, right? So that is what we are going to talk about here today, right? So uh, uh, so this is a small overview of what my talk is going to be on, right? So we'll be talking about the new engineering paradigm today with artificial intelligence in place and why AI matters, right? Those are few introductory slides about AI and its capabilities, and thereafter I will talk about prompt engineering. That is most important thing that everybody wanted to know, or everybody should know, right? And responsible AI, right? Even though we use AI tools, we have to be very careful. As previously said, security is one concern, but there are other concerns as well. So we will talk about them a little, and then we will talk about a little how can this AI be applied in our workplaces, right? And at last, I wanted to introduce a tool, AI tool. Hope actually there's a spelling mistake, guys. I when I type it's Notebook LM, right? Not Notebook LM. So I will introduce that tool and its capability a little, so that that will be hope that would be an interesting tool for everybody to to look after our works, day-to-day works easily. There are a lot of other tools are there, and I hope you will also be familiar with some of the tools. And today we'll talk about this Notebook LM. Right. So this is what I'm going to talk today, and at the end we'll have a, discussion, right? All right. So the new engineering paradigm. Today, as we all know, we are in a kind of a paradigm shift, right? Earlier, we all have been working with computers, tools, and many other you know technologies, right? Uh, while having that, right, with the uh, growing demand for kind of a data centric um, uh, decision making process and so on, when the things are growing, when the technology is growing, when people when the hardware and other things are growing, right? we cannot just work as we did about 10 years back or 15 years back, right? Because things are growing and it increases complexity, right? And people don't have patience, so we are kind of in a rush to complete the task, short deadlines. So there are many problems that we encounter, not only in computing field but every other field today, right? And also with the technology, computer technology evolve, internet and everything, people are kind of, uh, we say narrow expert people, when uh, when we grow up in our professional, we are kind of focused on certain areas, right? So that creates, expert says, that creates a talent gap. Even though we are expert in a particular field, we are kind of out of touch in some other areas. This is a common scenario in everywhere, right? So to fill this engineering talent gap, AI can be thought of as a solution for this, filling this gap, right? So kind of AI helping to gap this paradigm shift, right? So earlier we have been kind of, doing things manually, right? Do many calculations, spend hours and hours of our valuable time in doing things, right? But most of the time, things are done on a trial and error basis. We do things, check the outcome. If it is, satisfied, we go ahead. Otherwise, we do it again, over and over again. But now, AI support, right? AI support us to do this in a kind of a data-driven approach. We have data, right? It can be any amount of data, historical data, primary data, secondary data, any data. Based on the data, AI kind of helping humans to make decision, which help prediction, optimization, and many other tasks. So this is what the paradigm shift is all about, right? So what is the advantages of using AI, right? The experts suggest, or researchers gives that there are kind of almost 98% reduction in computational time. Imagine 98% reduction in the computational time. That means if you can do the calculation in, days and days and weeks, right? But you can do it in a matter of a second nowadays, right? So this is this brings you a very powerful, uh, you know, uh, computational world, right? So why AI matters today? Now, the data everywhere, we have data, right? We have been collecting data in every field, right? The question is, are we utilizing these data, collected data, somewhere stored digitally or manually in files, bundles of data we have and we store? Are we using this data? This is the bigger question. The actual answer is not at all we are using the data, right? Whenever at a point when we make decisions based on, most of the time, based on the experience or knowledge experience, right? And for the decision making process, only very few people influences. This is the fact, right? But the reason behind this is now we don't have time to look at all the data that we have stored. Sometimes some historical data, like 10 years, let's say this is the meteorological data, rainfall data, 10, 15 years data. Yeah, we have got. But who cares then? Who analyze them? Very difficult. I mean, you can analyze actually, but it takes time. It's a time consuming task. But now, and if you can feed those data, these AI can do things you sometimes you cannot even imagine, right? So after AI was invented a long time back, but now it is been very popular now because it can make very fast decision. It can reduce the human errors, automating repetitive tasks, improving productivity. So these are kind of uh, uh, the advantages that AI gives you today. That's why a lot of industries are now moving towards uh, applying this AI into their I mean, day-to-day works, right? So where this AI is being applied? Everywhere, almost everywhere. Healthcare, banking, education, transportation, business, engineering, everywhere, right? Wherever you can use a computer, AI can be applied, right? Wherever you have a machine, computer, data, wherever you are dealing with data, AI can be applied. So what are the benefits? It helps to increase the productivity, efficiency, reduce human error, cost reduction, right? Imagine if this introducing AI into your workplace reduces about 98% of the computational time, right? Time is money now. You can reduce cost a lot, and it will help you to enhance the decision-making process because it analyze the data and give you a very, I mean, uh, nice picture of your data. And those are actually based on your data. The summary or whatever produced by artificial intelligence is kind of based on your data. So we are relying on the fact data for decision making. So the decision making ability increase, productivity increase, right? So that is the reason now people started to use AI everywhere, right? So AI, there are many different kinds of, explanations are there about AI. Different people will uh, use different taxonomies, right? But uh, this is kind of a perspective, right? So you have a different type of AIs are there, right? Uh, Discriminative AI, generative AI, agentic AI. What does this means? Uh, Discriminative AI means it's kind of, the AI that we have been using for years now, right? So for example, it kind of use machine learning techniques. I will talk about this learning in the next part, right? So it uses data to learn something, and based on the data, it predicts something. For example, let's say we train the computer or AI based on the existing data, right? And the machines will, whenever you ask a question, machine will ask you, reason your input and give you a solution which based on the existing data. Kind of predictions, categorization, clustering, these kind of tasks happens in discriminative AI, right? So we can say, we can see or we can categorize this kind of AI as the analyst type of AI. It analyzes the data and do the prediction, do categorization, do clustering, and so on, right? Second type of AI is the AI that we are talking about now, very popular now, which is called generative AI. In short, we call Gen AI. So what is Gen AI means? It's again learns with data, of course, right? AI in a whole learn from the data, right? We have to train a machine using a data, right? But the specialty about this generative AI is it can generate content. Any type of content it can be. It can generate text, it can generate audio, video, even program, source code. It can generate anything now, right? So it generate new data based on the training data, right? So that is generative AI, and our focus today is also try to talk about that a bit. Third type of AI is uh, agentic AI. Agentic AI means we can leverage AI in a workplace which execute things automatically. It executes things automatically, right? Kind of, AI chatbot you might have heard about, AI agent. When you ask something, it will answer you or it will work for you, right? So this is kind of an, little advanced, not very advanced, little advanced agent that we can create an agent to work for us. It's our workman kind of a AI, right? So analyst is there which analyze and give you output based on the data. Generative AI will create the content based on the data. Agentic AI will execute task based on the data, right? So now a lot of applications now, AI based applications are there now. Those are either, some of them are generative AI based application, and industrial applications use agentic AI, where it use AI agent to work for you. We automate some task and these agents will monitor and do the task automatically, right? So to leverage these AI tools, right, we need data, right? So if you just have data, that will not help you. Why? Because these applications run on computers, and we all know computers are just a machine. Computers are just machines, right? The machines that we have been using for years and years. Why these computers became so powerful now? And how? Yes, now people say computers are so powerful. The reason is, of course, there's a huge hype in hardware technology, right? Computer hardware technology have emerged a lot, and computers today, we have computers with very high amount of processing ability. It can process huge amount of data today. There is one reason. On the other hand, we can use these computers, right, and create models, and we can train these uh, uh, machines to work for us. That is where this paradigm shift is uh, been coming into the scene. Earlier, we just have a machines run based on the programs. We write programs. When the program runs, computer works. Today, in addition to the program, we can train a computer to work in some fashion, in some pattern, right? So how do you do this, right? This is happening based on a concept called machine learning. Machine learning, right? Now everybody, we are learning, no, from kindergarten, grade 1 to grade 13, then university. We are learning, right? While learning, we are upgrading our knowledge. No? While learning, we are upgrading our knowledge. So this similar concept is being uh, used in computers, right? What we do that? We use the data to train a computer. For example, let's say this is my phone, right? I'm writing a program to tell the computer that this is a phone, right? So I will show every side. Thoroughly, I train a computer, right? After that, what I do is I ask the computer, showing a different phone and asking the computer, what is this? Then based on the earlier training, he will tell you that this is a computer. This is a phone. This is as simple as that, right? But the problem here is, right, any kind of a phone model, everything has to be shown to the computer, trained to the computer. It's like training a kindergarten kid, right? Training a computer is like training a nursery student. From the very basic level, we have to train everything. Then only the machine will work for you, right? So the machine learning is that. So machine learning uses a statistical technique to give computers the ability to learn from data, right? So there are different types of machine learning is there. Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. These are different technique using which we train a computer. Supervised learning is we use label data to train a machine. What do you mean by label data? For example, say, okay, this is a phone. So we show this data to the computer and tell the computer that this is a phone. There's a label associated with this data, right? And we show some other device showing this to the computer and say, this is a mouse with a label. So every data we label. I mean, guys, I'm trying to make it simple. I'm not going into kind of deep computer theories, just trying to explain things that are easy to understand, right? That's why I'm using very simple uh, examples here. So that is what called supervised learning is. So we train the model with labeled data and then test the model with unlabeled data. After training, I show this and ask the computer, what is this? And checking whether it is correctly identifying this object, whether it is identifying this as a mouse. Then fine. So we check the accuracy and so on. Unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning means we give the whole set of data to the computer and let the computer learn, by finding patterns in the data, hidden patterns in the data, right? So finding hidden patterns, unsupervised learning. So we don't give any labels to the data. So let the computer identify, understand. It make mistake and from that it learn again, right? So these kind of learning will take time to learn thoroughly so that after a certain amount of learning, it will work as expected. Reinforcement learning, right? It is learning through rewards, right? Reinforcement learning is learning, make mistake, learning again, make mistake, learning, learn from the mistakes, all right? So that is what called reinforcement learning is, right? And these are learning techniques, but now not recently, but this is a groundbreaking learning technique called deep learning, right? It is evolved subset of unsupervised learning, right? Unsupervised learning means it's just learning from the existing data by identifying the hidden patterns. But here it uses a technique called neural network, right? What do you mean by neural networks? In our brain, we have got something called neurons. Those neurons, will, uh, pump the electrical signals in order to work, right? And neurons communicate. So this is kind of a pattern is being used, mimicking the human brain, so that the reasoning happens, the learning and predicting things happen in multiple layers and levels, right? So after the concept of deep learning into play, all of these AI became so popular because has been able to do a lot of tasks after this. Earlier also it was doing, but it was kind of uh, became so popular after this. Now we have seen these kind of generative AI tools coming into play, very very recent times, like within last 2 year time, you know it is everywhere, right? So deep learning plays a major role in it, right? Okay, so there are different kind of AI models are also there. I skip that area here, right? But a very popular model that everybody talks today is a large language model, LLMs, we say. Large language model means like, for example, this chat GPT or whatever, gamma, that these, there are many AI tools that we have today, right? Right? So these, any AI model, right, we usually ask question from this AI model. If you want to do something, if you want to know something, uh, if you want to work with an AI model, we usually ask questions, right? This asking a question to AI model is called prompting. Prompting, right? So prompting means requesting an AI model, AI tool to perform a particular task, right? So if you want to use these AI models efficiently, you should know something about prompting, right? The efficient prompts will give you, the answers as you expected, right? So there are many different techniques of prompting. I will talk a little bit about that here, right? What you do, for example, with ChatGPT. For example, if I want to type a letter, uh, type a letter, simple letter, right? What do you do? In ChatGPT, what you do is we just type a leave letter, sick leave letter. Type a sick leave or produce or create a sick leave letter. Then it will create a beautiful letter for you, right? This is what called zero shot prompting, direct instruction to the AI tool, any AI tool, right? It can be text generation AI, it can be image generation AI, it can be audio video generation AI, whatever it is. Just giving an instruction. It's called zero shot prompting. The problem with zero shot prompting is the output that we get from this direct instruction will be kind of, very generic output. Those are not very specific, right? Not very specific. So if you want to make this more specific, we have to tell this AI engine what kind of letter or whatever that you're expecting, right? So that is called few shot prompting, giving few example, right? Few shot prompting means we give AI bot a little bit of an example, right? So maybe if you have a letter that you have written for another purpose, so you give us that as a reference and ask AI to create quite similar letter for a sick leave, for example. Then your tool will learn something from your input, right? Learn from what it can learn. It can learn the context, it can learn the tone of the conversation or tone of the writer, whether it is professional writing or whether it is a casual writing. So it will learn, right? Even you can go little beyond and say, I'm a regional engineer, I'm a resident engineer in this particular organization. I will be on leave from this period to this period due to medical emergency or something, whatever. Write a professional sick leave letter. So when you give this kind of a context you're writing, it will produce, very specific kind of output to you, right? This is called few shot prompting. We give few example how your output should look like, or how you are expecting an out. What is the context on which you are writing this? All of those things that we give and ask him to create something for you. So he learned from your input and produce an output for you. Right. Then third technique is chain of thought process. Chain of thought process means breaking a complex reasoning into a step-by-step process. You can ask, for example, you give a mathematical equation to solve, right? So if you just give solve, then he will solve and give an answer. Straight away give answer because it can solve everything. Right? But if you want to know what are the intermediate steps that it has been following to solve this particular issue, then you have to tell him. You have to tell him, let's have this answer step by step. Very simple. Then this is called chain of thought. How the AI machine thinks, or how the AI machine handle these problem solving, or how this problem solving happen at the machine level. Step by step guide will be given, right? That is called chain of thought process, right? And the fourth attempt is fourth way of prompting is called prompt chaining. What do you mean by prompt chaining? This is also what we usually do. We use either zero shot prompting or prompt chaining usually. What do you mean by prompt chaining? We ask a question from we write a prompt, right? And it give you an answer. You look at the answer, you are not satisfied. Then you give again, asking another question, right? So for example, hey AI or ChatGPT or Siri, whatever, right? Refine the answer, make it short, make it little more effective, right? So this is how the prompt chaining work, right? So this split complex task into smaller subtasks and using AI output to accomplish to achieve the goals, right? So it's split complete complex task into smaller. So what we do it over and over again, right? So these things can be summarized as please excuse me for 1 minute. I'll come back in 1 minute. My son is calling me. Give me a minute. Okay, sorry for the interruptions. Right. So when we have this prompt engineering, there's a different frameworks have been designed, right? One is called Costa framework, right? Costa framework. Means Costa framework for prompt engineering, right? When you work with these generative AI tools, right? Follow these 6 principles when you write a prompt. For example, Costa means C is for context or objective, style, tone, audience, response. Right? In the previous slide, I told zero-shot prompting where we just ask AI to write a letter, right? It's very generic, right? But if you can include these Costa concept into your prompt, right? For example, context means the background. Why do you want to write this letter? Leave letter, or why this is leave? For example, medical purpose or personal reason. So we have to tell him that this is the reason, this is the context on which I'm writing this letter. Objective, the goal, what AI should do for you. Style, what is the tone? Is it technical or summary, long, small, lengthy letter, small letter, precise, anything. Tone, whether it should be written in a professional way, whether it could be in a friendly, casual tone of the write-up should be. Audience, to whom you're writing to. Right? Who are you? To whom you're writing to. These things you have to tell. Response, how your output should look like. Maybe formatting you can give, or you can ask him to tabulate, you can ask him to give a bullet form. If it is a letter, no option, no, it should be in a letter format. So you have to give this context. Then it will produce a better output for you. For example, let's say, as I told you in the previous slide, we asked ChatGPT to write a leave letter. So here what you can give is, I'm being an engineer working in this organization, or else you can tell, we call this as persona, right? We can ask the machine, computer, AI to, behave like an engineer, right? Because he's right, he's an assistant for us now. We are using AI as an assistant for us. So we give our role to AI. Tell that, right? Tell the AI that being an engineer, write a sick leave letter from this day to this date to my manager or senior engineer, right? And the write-up should be professional, short professional letter. So we cover up all of these content into, ultimately what we need is just a letter. But what we tell the machine is that I am so and so, I'm going to write a letter to so and so, the purpose of the letter, and what tone it should be, whether it should be a professional writer, whether it should be a casual email. So you can tell this context to the machine so that this machine can produce a better output for you. All right? So prompt engineering plays a major role in getting a successful output, right? So in fact, a lot of people are using AI to create prompts, right? We are using actually prompt engineering is kind of, if you search about prompt engineering, you can see it's a huge area now. Earlier it was very simple prompting, right? But prompt engineering has been is a large area now, because there are a lot of concepts that people are talking about how your output should look like. So based on your expected output, you have to give a prompting, right? So it's a little complicated now. So what we do is actually we use either ChatGPT or whatever, Gemini or Cloud, whatever AI, giving your context and simple ideas, and ask the Gen AI tool like ChatGPT to create a prompt for you. And you use that prompt in some other AI tool to create a better output for you, right? That is what I am doing actually, right? A lot of people uh, suggesting this way, right? If you don't know how to write a better prompt, you can use an AI tool to create a prompt for you. That will help you, right? But whatever you do, right? There's a concept in AI called, especially in generative AI, called human in the loop process. Human in the loop. So whatever AI produce, right? You cannot trust. You cannot trust the output that AI produces, right? We have to overlook everything that it produces, right? So the use of chain of thought process also will help you to get a better output. And in addition, we have to be very careful about the output that AI produce, right? So I will talk about that in the next part called responsible AI. So what do you mean by responsible AI? Right? We are we are professionals, right? And we are responsible people. Whatever the office we work, we have a responsibility, right? And whatever the work we do, whatever the deliverables that we produce, whatever the decision that we make, for everything we are responsible, right? You may use assistants, AI, anything to do that task, but ultimately you are responsible, right? So blindly believing AI tool is the biggest mistake that a lot of people do. Blindly believing AI. Why? Because AI actually can make mistake. Can means it make huge mistakes. Why? Because AI is actually a machine which learn from the data, no? Which learn from the data. Nowadays, the generative AI learn from the data available on the internet. Huge volumes of data available in the internet, and it's learned from those data. Do you believe all the data in the internet are perfect data, correct, right data? We can't say that, no? So AI can give you wrong answer, right? There's a concept called hallucination. AI can hallucinate. This is the biggest problem that we have in AI. AI can hallucinate. So hallucinate means it can create something is not existing, right? So, but if you just blindly trust this AI tool and produce the data that produced by AI to your superior or to your report or something, ultimately you will be in question, right? So we have to be very careful, right? So just as we follow building codes for building or construction purposes, AI must follow ethical codes. There are ethics behind that. So responsible AI is talk about the ethics behind AI, right? Because the final liability always rests with us, right? So there are a few concepts that I'm going to talk here is to make sure that we are producing the right output and we take responsibility, right? So explainability, bias mitigation, data privacy, human in the loop. These are few concepts that I'm going to talk in the next few slides. Right. In the meantime, I will, if you have any question, guys, we can discuss, or even you can use chat to put your question so that we can discuss actually. Right. Okay. So the main problem is, right? Sorry. Explainability is, we ask a question from AI, right? It give you an answer and we blindly believe it without knowing how AI arrive at this answer. It's a serious problem, right? Because deep learning models often provide answers without explaining the underlying concept, right? Physics or whatever. It just give you answer. You ask something, it give you answer. We don't know where it is getting the answer, usually. If you cannot explain why this answer came from and where this answer came from, then you will be in trouble. Because you are answerable, right? Blindly trusting a model can lead to some serious problem, right? In the case of engineering, it can lead to a catastrophic structural or electrical failures if you blindly trust this model. So how do you overcome this issue? You cannot actually trust, you should not trust the answer provided by AI tools unless you can explain the answer. Right? So you can ask AI to explain chain of thought process. You can ask, tell me how you arrive at this answer, so that it can give you step-by-step reasoning process so that you can look into it and confirm that this is the correct answer. Right? You can ask also the physics informed neural networks, that we can ask the AI to give the references, give the reasons why it create this answer and so on. Right? So we have to be able to explain the answer that AI produce, right? Because as I told you from the beginning, we are using AI as our assistant, not a co-worker. Co-worker means what? We believe our co-worker, and whatever the task done by our co-worker, we trust, right? For example, let's say we 4 engineers working in a team. If one engineer is producing some work, do you always, double check and authorize? I mean, we have to do that, but we trust our people, right? We trust our team member. But here, AI should be your assistant, not co-worker. You cannot believe as it is, right? Keep this in mind. Because it produces blindly, it can produce now. Second thing is quality of the data that it produces. As I told you earlier, AI can produce very bad output for you. Why? Because it train from the data. And if the data we use to train is a garbage data, the output we get also garbage. We call this as GIG or GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So if the garbage data is being used to train your model, you will get garbage output. So trusting a garbage output, a bad output, will create a lot of problems, right? So what is the mitigation? Data governance, right? If we are using an agentic AI, we have to be very carefully train our model using data. The data should be clean, standardized data so that our AI chatbot or AI bot will work as expected, right? So we have to be, very carefully, govern the data we use to train. This is the problem with, generative AI. In general, generative AI, for example, ChatGPT, it trained from data from the internet. So internet have all kind of data, right? So that is where the problem arises. So it can produce a wrong output also, right? So data quality matters, right? Another important thing is about biases. Bias is a very serious concern, right? What do you mean by bias? For example, let's say it all depends on the training data, no? The output of the AI models are based on the training data, right? For example, let's say an AI model is trained in USA. Let's say like a model like, Siri, right? Trained using, let's say, USA clients, whatever. It trained based on that data. So if you bring that device and use here in Sri Lanka, it can be, sometimes not understand your pronunciation, sometimes it not, work according, it does not know anything about, uh, the basic information about Sri Lankan, this and that, So it usually bias towards West. So that is a serious problem, right? So, the overfitting is on the other hand, model overfitting means like buying a shirt which is not suitable for your size, overfitting. That is another problem. Bias and overfitting, two problems are there. So if that happened, but if that overfitting or bias happened, what would happen? If there is a bias, if there is an overfitting, the output the model produced will also be biased because the data is already biased, right? So it can create a bad output for you. So if you trust those data to make a serious decision, everything can go wrong, right? So how do you mitigate this kind of problem? Cross validation is a way, simplest way, right? What do you mean by cross validation? We validate the model with all possible, data, all possibilities, right? The test model, diverse data set from different geographical and environmental conditions. For example, if the model is created in USA, for example, we have to make sure that it is being trained for Sri Lankan data as well. So that when it comes to Sri Lankan locality, this model perform better, right? Or else what will happen is we have to bring the model here and train, right? After training only, it will start working sometimes. For example, you might have experience with, phones, talking, not just AI based, like Siri like applications, right? Initially, it may not understand your slang, it may not understand your pronunciation, but after you start using it, it'll learn your pronunciation. It will be trained for your voice, your pronunciation, your accent. Then it start working for you. This is kind of a reinforcement learning happens, right? And on the other hand, to overcome these kind of biases and overfitting, you can also do standardization regulations, use statistical constraint to prevent model from becoming too rigid to its trained data. If it is purely working on the trained data, and if the trained data is, biased, then your output also be biased. So we have to be very careful when training our own models, right? And another problem is liability and accountability gap, right? So for example, we create some content using AI tools, and we encounter some problem because of that output. Let's say you do a design using AI, and you trust that model and produce the design, and somebody have understood, identified that this is bad. Then can you go and say, no, this is not what I have created, I used AI tool? No, you cannot, because responsibility relies on you. Lies on you. Whether you rely on your coworker, whether you rely on AI tool, it doesn't matter. If you are authorized person, you are responsible, right? So you cannot, go out of the, you know, uh, uh, if there are any legal issues comes, you are not out of the legal things, right? So we have to be very careful. So how do you overcome this? I have already talked about this human in the loop process. Whatever the output that AI produce, we as humans have to monitor completely, right? We have to check each and every output, because we should know that AI can produce a bad output. AI can produce a wrong output. We have to have it in mind, right? So rather than blindly trusting an AI model, it's always better that we work, having this in mind. We should know that AI can make mistake, right? So consciously, we have to check every output that AI produces, right? AI can be used as your assistant, not as a co-worker. That is what I'm telling. And this is, we have already talked about in the one of the other sessions. Cybersecurity is a problem, right? Data is always a problem, right? So if you are using these kind of model, guys, these models, already trained models, but this is continuously learning from your data as well. Whatever the data you are input here will be used for training purposes. So your personal data, right? Or private data, you should not give this data to the AI model. This is the same advice is already given by the previous speaker in one of the earlier sessions as well. data security, we have to be very careful about this data that we are giving to AI models, right? So, how do you overcome these kind of cybersecurity and adversarial attacks, right? The problem is that this model can be poisoned. Even a small bad data can make this model behave very badly. That is what called adversarial attacks. If somebody purposefully poison your model, that is possible. So what we do is we have to do a thorough testing, train the model with bad data and check whether it behave badly during the training session itself, right? And we have to test the model thoroughly, right? In addition, we also have something called a red teaming. You might have heard about these terms before, right? Red teaming means we have a set of experts, right, trying to attack this model, purposefully attacking this model and check whether the model's behavior, if behave for certain attack, it behave differently, then we have to look into the model and correct as necessary, do the necessary correction to make sure that it does not create any harm to the user, right? So that is something that I want to talk here. And now we will see how this AI can be used in your workplaces, right? As Engineer Valluvan told, I am just I did computer engineering and I have been in the academic sector for last 20 years, right? After immediately passing out, I just joined uh, the university and I'm working as a lecturer. So I don't have much experience with other sectors, other field of engineering, right? So these are few um, thoughts that I ask AI to generate for me. I believe that AI work good for me, right? But the entire slide set is been generated by AI. I have not done anything on this, right? I give some input, and this is actually, if you look at in the corner, that shows made with Gamma. So the entire slide set it's been generated by an AI tool. I have not done anything, right? I'm not that artistic man, so but this slide looks so nice because of these AI tools. So we can use different AI tools to create different content, right? So this is next few slide I have created. I have no idea, guys, but these are places where AI tools can be used in engineering as well. In some places, it has been already put in place and people are using it, right? I don't know the Sri Lankan context, but abroad, I mean, Western countries, they already started to use these kind of tools. So in civil engineering, uh, AI can be used in smart infrastructure and BIM, right? So AI driven design tools are there. It can be used to plan, build, and maintain infrastructure. Please don't ask how it can be done, right? Because this is actually, I search about something about it that it says there are tools available, right? And a lot of AI tools are, paid tools. So generative design tools are there, AI enhanced BIM tools are there, digital twins. I really don't know. I was trying to understand, but I couldn't, right? Similarly, there are tools for site safety and site efficiency, right? There are a lot of places where computer vision is being used. Computer vision means there are cameras, and cameras are connected to application to check whether these the safety equipments are being used by the people, right? For example, helmets, protective mechanisms are being used, overcoats. So the camera can monitor and alert that these guys are not wearing that, and this, and alerts are being given as personal SMSs can be. There are a lot of applications, right? AI can be used extensively in that area. Security, safety, yeah, maximize. And mechanical engineering, where a lot of CADs and design, where artificial intelligence can be very much helpful. Wherever generative content, repetitive task is there, you can use AI at its maximum. Design, automation, and optimization, where you can use AI tools, right? There are already tools are there. And simulation, there are huge demand for this particular concept, simulation. Even in computing, we use a lot of simulations, and not only in computing, in many other field, right? Educational purposes, training purposes, we'll use a lot of simulations, right? So these kind of simulation tools can be generated using AI, right? And prototyping tools, a lot of, and electrical also, right? Smart grid and power, where they can use a lot of AI tools, fault detection. AI can be there, you can connect a lot of sensors into these grid, and it can continuously monitor the input, and I mean trigger at certain levels, right? And hardware design, circuit design, a lot of people, a lot of places. And not only these are few examples that AI generated for me, guys, but it can be used everywhere, right? So this is just to give an introduction about the power of artificial intelligence and how it can be used in an organization. But uh, I'm just I just wanted to show you a tool. As I told you earlier, a notebook LM is a tool that I'm going to demonstrate here. Maybe not much time, maybe another 10 minutes time. In the meantime, we can have uh, a question and answer sessions before we move on to the hands-on. There's one question from Damitha. Please explain more on how we can ensure data privacy. So this is a question that a lot of people has, right? Uh, so data privacy is a serious concern, actually, right? When we talk about data privacy, right? Um, the the data that we enter into AI model can be used by uh, uh, by that organization. For example, let's say ChatGPT means OpenAI. They may be using your private data. Yes. It's a public domain. Now we are entering our data so that it can be used by uh, the people over there. It's maybe may not be kind of explicitly using your data, but without our knowledge, without their knowledge, your data will be stored in their repositories, and from there it can be used to train the model, um, anything can happen, right? So it's a question, right? So how do we ensure the data security, right? So in that sense, I would say it's better we avoid entering, private data, like, any data that is too private for you. It's better avoid entering such data into the system. That is advisable. Otherwise, there's a huge risk that your data can go leak. And, even though model says that we ensure the privacy of the data and this and that, there is nothing we can say that private in IT industry. Right? There's a hacker, there are a lot of things can happen, right? Security, today we say it is more secure, but tomorrow the security can be in question because technology developed a lot, right? A lot of algorithms are coming in, computing power is there. So earlier we say the passwords are more secure on those days, like 15, 20 years back, password are fair enough, secure. But today we go for biometric kind of authentication mechanism because those are passwords can be easily breakable. There are tools available with very high computing power. This is possible, right? So that's why. So how do we ensure data privacy? In the previous one of the previous sessions, the speaker was talking about ensuring privacy, right? I'm not actually a privacy expert or a cybersecurity expert, so uh, with that I stop um, into that topic, right? So we will. Is there are any cybersecurity experts in this session? They can help you, I think. The other question, is there any guidance framework or governance going to be implemented for the global control on AI tool generation, use of AI tools by organizations or public? There are many movements are being discussed, right? But I really don't know, is there any approved uh, uh, but there was a framework, some Google or somebody was talking about. I really don't remember the name, right? But a lot of policies have been defined actually because when it comes to responsible AI, there are a lot of uh, guidelines have been released. And also different organizations define their own privacy policies and guidelines and frameworks, right? In order to ensure the privacy, data privacy, as well as ethical consideration of this uh, 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 using AI in the workspaces, right? It's still in question and in research. But there are few frameworks, but I really um, don't know. Of course, hope Bhanujan, I answered at least partially for your question. Uh, what to do when self-written article dictated as 60% AI? What to do when self-written article dictated as 60% AI? I didn't really follow Sivakumar. I didn't I
So
couldn't
I think
understand your question. Yeah.
so his question was what to do when self-written article was detected as 60% AI. Detected.
Right. This is a problem. I mean, there are a lot of, uh, tools are there, like uh, there are AI detection tools are there, and also, I mean, copy. copying, I mean, detection tools are also there, right? So those tools are also AI-based tools, no? So actually, the problem here is AI is use data based on which is already trained, right? So it usually looking for some patterns in your text. That is the problem, right? So the data that they have used to train their models, AI, for example, let's say AI generated data has been used to train the model, right? But uh, these kind of AI tools, you know, nowadays AI tools are super perfectly generating contents, no? But in AI tool, when they generating contents, it have a hidden patterns. This is the pattern it uses to generate the content. So that is the concept. It is being trained to a model. So this uh, uh, the problem that AI generated content identification is based on that. So your AI tools, the you know these detection tools identify the sex as AI content because maybe it is because your content is being perfectly written sometimes. That may be the problem that uh, academically we don't that much use these AI generate content is nowadays professional also says that it very difficult to detect AI generated content or academically, I mean, self-written content. There's a huge serious problem in it, right? And as academics we find it very difficult because these kind of detection tools are very expensive tools. So with the available tools we say this actually you can actually counter argue that this is a self-generated content, and so that's a problem actually, right? uh, but it's a problem with this learning algorithm and the patterns that is the issue. So it's depending on the tool. Sometimes if you use some other tool, it may say it 10% AI generated, depending on the tool, right? Another interesting question come here. As an academic professional, how you overcome assignment and thesis, etc., generate from AI by students? It is another problem that we face day by day. We unlike earlier, we cannot simply give assignments today, right? Any assignment you give, they simply generate using any of these AI tools. And of course, we can also identify while reading the assignment itself, we can identify. But today, what people does is they submit sometimes handwritten assignments, right? To pretend that they have been creating this document by their own. But by reading it, we can understand it's an AI generated. It's a serious problem. So what we actually, what I personally do is I kind of uh, give assignments based on specific practical problems, right? But I'm not a lecturer on computer engineering side. I'm a computer science lecturer at this university. So for computer science, I mean, specific practical problems, when we give specific practical problems to computer science students, they find it much very difficult to solve those issues. So if it is engineering undergraduate, so somebody that then we can give kind of very practical problems that cannot be completely created by AI. I mean, definitely students uses. I mean, and also students are much knowledgeable than us. I admit that. Because young crowd know, they know much better tools. They have much more time to, I mean, practice these tools and so on. So most of the content students generate using AI, but we have to find, alternative ways to overcome this issue. It's very tricky and very difficult, right? So assignments, uh, assignment problems usually I personally give some kind of practical, I mean domestic practical issues are being given so that they cannot use much of these uh, AI generate. That is how I practice, but it's very difficult actually nowadays. And this has been a serious discussion among, academics level as well, right? Whenever we meet academics, very senior academics, it's a serious problem, right? Uh, but nowadays, academic community actually start to accept uh, AI generated content as well, but expecting the student to declare that they have used AI generated content for this particular portion. I have used AI to develop this content, this part of design or whatever. Academic community is little open nowadays to accept, because this is a technology and we cannot ask the student to not to use the technology, right? So we have to encourage students to use and explore these technologies, but we have to, as academic, we have to find a way to uh, enhance student using the AI tools, as well as the reasoning should come from students, students' point of view. Student have to work out to a certain extent with the support of AI. That is no problem. That is what the academic community is kind of agreeing nowadays. Hope I have answered your question. And Siva Nallaya, I'm a super senior age and recently retired civil engineer, and your presentation was excellent and easy to understand. Question: when you use an AI application, do you pay royalty, or uh, is there a per use fee for each application? Yeah. Um, AI tools, there are free AI tools are there. There are subscription based AI tools are also there. And some other tools are there which uses, uh, you know, some cloud based tools are there. You pay per usage, per hour of use, per training time. There are multiple options are there. It depends on what kind of tool you use and how long you have been using. For that we pay, right? But for as myself, I have never used a paid tool. Most of the tools that I use are free tools, because we are poor people from poor country now. So we have been using I have been using most of the free tools. I try to explore many tools and identify few tools which are suitable for me for creating my content. So that is how I practice. So you people also can try that. Now the thing is, we can use the AI itself to identify the tools. We can search on the chat GPT or somewhere. We can search and it will suggest some tools so that we can explore those tools, so that we can identify the suitable tools for us, right? So those are the questions that we have come across so far. I will take another maybe 5 minutes time, 5 to 10 minutes time to explore one of the tools that I'm using, right? That is called Notebook LM. I just close this presentation, and it's an online tool, right? So the name is Notebook LM. I just search on the internet Notebook LM, and there's a first link, right? Notebook LM. This is a Google tool. Sorry, guys, I didn't share the present my screen. Right. So this is in my browser. I have just searched about Notebook LM, right? And so this is the tool. When I search, I get this search results where notebooklm.google. That is the tool that I use, right? Notebook LM. So this is the tool I use. So once you're coming to the tool, just there's a button called Try Notebook LM. You can go there, right? I'm just within 5-10 minutes time. I just to introduce this tool, and I will show you some of the features that this tool has. Very interesting tool, right? I've been using this extensively, and these tools will ask you to log in. You can simply, this is actually a free tool. You can use this tool logging into a using your Google credential. If you have a Google account, Gmail or something, you can simply log in. See, I have joined using a Google, right? This is another account. So this is the first screen you will get, right? So sometimes, wait a minute. So since I have created few notebook is there, or else you can just click the create new here, or else create new notebook. You just click on that and go, right? So once you click create a notebook, it's just create a notebook. And this is the notebook LM interface, right? Here you can give a name for the notebook, right? It's usually untitled notebook is the name. I create my notebook. This is just to give a name. No worries, whatever the name you give, it doesn't matter, right? The beauty about this tool is, right? There are three things in this. One is called sources. This area is sources. This is about chat, and this is about studio, right? The beauty about this particular tool is why I have chosen this tool to explore in this community is all the other tools that we usually use like ChatGPT or Gemini or Cloud or Canva, any tool, right? When you ask a question, it search the content from the entire repositories that trained by the tool owner. For example, if it is ChatGPT, it's gaining the content from the Open AI. They are the owner who created this tool, and whatever the data trained by them, from that data it produce output for you, right? So from the training data, it's not owned by you, so you cannot control the output they give you. But this model, right here, you can add the sources. If the sources are added by you, and whatever the question you ask is based on the sources you add. I will show you a notebook that I have created for this workshop, right? IESL AI workshop, where I have added, see, just by clicking add sources, guys, you can add whatever the file. You can simply drag and drop the files. See, you can drag your file whatever the PDF file, or see number of files you can upload. See, you can upload files, right? You can upload files by using a, by opening your computer's hard disk. You can upload any file, or else you can upload a website. Not only website, you can also upload a YouTube link. See, if you look at here, the third link is the YouTube link. How do you upload that? For example, I just search YouTube. Sorry. Here I search about AI tools for Office. I just search about it. And there are many tools. I just click one of these tools.
Are you looking to supercharge your
Right? But what I do is I just copy this link, copy this, and come back to my notebook, right? This is a notebook. And in the add sources, I add my YouTube link. Sorry. This is the YouTube. Insert. And once I insert, see here, the YouTube link that I have added is already there. This is the sources now. And based on this source, you can search. For example, I don't know anything about this YouTube page. No, what I do now is, right, I choose, you can select the sources. What I do is I select the last source, the source that I add here, and come back to this chat and ask, please, or don't need to please them, give me, right, give me a summary of the video, right? See, I'm asking a summary about the video. See, it work on the video that I have given, and it tells you sorry, this is the question I asked. It gives the answer. The video top 10 AI to boost office productivity in 2025 explores a variety of AI, and it gives you content. Communication and information management, it talks about Sena Box, Herpa AI, Notion, something like that. Scheduling and workflow of the organization. See, this output here is purely based on the resource that I just added, based on this video. See, it's a 9-minute video. So if you want to understand this video, you have to spend 9 minutes on the video, concentrate on it, and you have to get the idea. But here, I just added that YouTube link here. I have just added, and I'm asking a question based on this YouTube link, right? And it create a summary for me. So you don't need to go through 9 minutes video. You can simply see a summary. So if you want to ask about, let's form app or whatever, you can ask a question here. So from this video, it gives you an answer, right? So the power of this notebook LM is that the question will be answered based on the sources that you have added. That is the beauty of this. So I use this tool very extensively to create my lecture material, to create my small quizzes, to create even PowerPoint slides. I use this tool. I will show you, right? I will show you. These are this particular section is sources. No, I told you we can add many sources. This is the center area is about chats. And another part is here is called studio. This is most interesting thing about this tool is this studio, right? I will show you, right? I will show you. There's something called you can create many content using the sources, using your sources. It can be audio, video, mind map, report, flashcards, quizzes, infographics, slide decks, data table, right? I will just create an infographic. You know what is an infographic? Very simple. I just click there and see, right? It is creating, I guess. So sorry, you have reached daily infographic limits. I'm sorry, I'll go back to another account, right? I create a new notebook and I quickly add this very same web link here, right? I thought, because it's a free tool. I told you now I'm using a free tool. So you have reached daily infographic limit. So I have created from the morning. I tried many things, right? So here is another account. So from this account, we'll create. See, infographic, customize the infographic. What I did is I just create this, I click on this pen, infographic, right? Choose the language. I use any language, English, even you can check there are Sinhala, Tamil, every languages are there. See, Tamil is there and Sinhala was there. I don't know where it is. Italiano. See, many language that you can create. Even Sinhala is there, right? Sinhala. I don't know where it is, but it was there. Arabic. Tamil is here, Sinhala is here. So you can use any language, right? So I just create Tamil, right? You can try that, guys. Landscape, portrait, square, you can choose whether it should be concise, standard, beta. I just create standard and describe the infographic you want to create. What kind of infographic you want to create? Even you don't give this, it create a generic infographic. So it is creating, see, generating infographics. So this infographic is generated based on the source I have added. From this YouTube video, it is creating an info. It will take 1 or 2 minutes depending on the network connectivity, depending on the server workload, right? And also once I add this this uh, content, it simply give you a summary of the content. So based on this particular YouTube video I have added, that it give you some introduction about some idea about or some summary about that particular source here, and based on the source I'm creating this content, right? So it is generating infographics. While it is generating, I will show you some of the content that I have already created, right? Based on few the lecture materials. This is enhancing workplace efficiency is the slide I have used for this particular session. um, for creating that slide, I have created a Word document. I have added that Word document where I have collected information from many different websites and added into a Word document and asked my AI tool to create a PowerPoint slide for me. That is what I did, right? So I'm giving all my secrets here. So this I have created an AI slide is a document, Word document I created, and I added the slide here and two web links. Based on that, I have created few content. I will show you infographic first. No, this is not infographic. That's a report. This is an infographic. Yeah, first one is there in Tamil. I have created an info. Sorry, that is not. You can create. I told you you can create many things, right? One is See, this is an infographic I have created, but it in Tamil. You might have seen this kind of document, right? This is called infographic, and you can zoom and see. See, this is in Tamil, guys, but you can create in any language. When it creates in Tamil, earlier at the beginning, this was very bad Tamil it was using, but nowadays it create much better.
திறமையான இன்ஜினியர்களுக்கு ஒரு பற்றாக்குறை இருக்கு. அதான் engineering talent gapனு சொல்றாங்க. திறமையான
So this is another thing that I have created. One I have shown you is an infographic. This is what you call in the studio there is something called I show you that audio. This is actually it can generate audio podcast. What I did was I asked the AI to create a 16-minute discussion. See, that is what
இன்ஜினியர்களுக்கு ஒரு பற்றாக்குறை இருக்கு. அதான் engineering talent gapனு சொல்றாங்க.
Tamil.
இந்த எல்லா சவால்களுக்கும் AI ஒரு தீர்வா இருக்க முடியுமாங்கிறது தான் நம்மளோட ஆய்வு.
சரி, அப்போ அடிப்படையில இருந்து ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். ஏன்னு நம்ம பொதுவா சொன்னாலும் அது
See, so this is a content created based on this. Right? Not only that, I have created I created a video also. AI for engineers. This is a video I have created. See,
AI is totally changing the game for engineers.
It's a 2 minutes video.
Today, we're diving into how it's making everything more proactive. Just add this, helps manage smart grids, designing.
This video also created based on these sources. So not only video, guys, but also I told you we can create infographics, we can create audio, video, and this is infographic in English, I think. See, based on one single source, I have created another. So likewise, you can upload your material here and you can ask them to generate anything. See, I think I have created a briefing document. It's a summary document. See, it's a briefing document about this particular content. See, based on my content, it has created a document. Similarly, I have created a mind map. I'm sure you might have heard about, right? So it's connecting ideas together. This is called mind map. See, enhancing workplace efficiency have engineering paradigms where it talks about challenges. It talks about AI solution. It talks about benefits and faster decision making. What is it? When you click it, it will tell you what is decision making. Fast decision making is all about. So it tells you, see, paradigm shift from this created 98% efficiency. So from the mind map, once you click the mind map, it shows it's give you mind map is the map of the content, and once you click the content, it gives you the definition and explanation from the sources. So that is the beauty of this tool, right? You can create many different contents. I have shown you videos I have created. I'll just go back and open this based on this particular tool. The video, YouTube video I have shown you, based on this video, now my AI have created, my tool have created an infographics in Tamil. As also I just put to create an infographics in Sinhala as well, just to show you here. It takes some time. That's why I just click it and in a square shape and generate, and we will check this. Right? This is an infographics I created in Tamil. I have also asked my model to create infographic in Sinhala also, right? Let them wait for create. It takes 2-3 minutes to do that. So see, we can create audio, video, mind maps, reports, flashcards, quizzes, infographics, slide deck. See, So I upload my lecture material here and ask the AI to create a slide for me. So it will create slides for me so that I simply download and use it for classes. If it is 1 hour, I use 10, 15 slide maximum is fine. So I think I just wanted to introduce this tool, right? If you want anything, even any idea about Notebook LM, the notebook, once you click Notebook LM itself, it has, you can, one more thing I forgot to tell you, right? In the Notebook LM, let's say I trial or something, or this is the first window. No? Here, when you want to add sources, if you don't know any sources about the topic that you're talking about, for example, AI's uses in AI users in engineering disciplines. This is a prompt type. And if I click OK, see, it researching the website and it is going to show me the list possible websites. See, these are the sources that it find for me. See, I have search here, fast search, and these are the tools it find. These not tools, these are web links or even PDF file is already added. Introduction to artificial intelligence and application, something like that. So these are web links. It automatically searches and add it here. If I import it, those tools will be imported automatically to my notebook, right? I don't know these web links. I haven't checked it. If you know the web links, you can directly add the links to the notebook. If not, you can do this also. See, based on these 10 sources, it's creating a summary now. And after creating, this is chat now, you can ask the question based on this material, okay, or else you can create infographic, flashcards, quizzes, everything using Notebook LM. So Notebook LM is one of the very powerful tool. And not only this, I forgot to mention, right? For example, let's say you are attending a lot of meetings now. If you want to create a meeting minutes, what do? You have to take notes, summarize, type it again here, right? If you have a meeting records, voice record or something, you can directly upload it here, right? You can add sources here. You can put it in the upload file. You can just open that particular file. It can be any file you can upload. It can be text file, it can be any files, PDF, video file, audio, photos, any files you can upload, right? Or else you can put it in the Google Drive and you can use Google Drive, right? And choose one, whatever, right? This is my. So from Drive, you can add the meeting minutes record into the notebook and here you can ask, please give a summary of this, or please give a, transcribe or transcript of my audio file, so that it create a transcript here, right? Very simple. Or else you can just upload, let's say, president's budget speech in a PDF file. You upload it here and ask a question here. Is there any financial budgetary allocation for Batticaloa district this year? Ask the question here and it will give you the answer in this particular area. Any large document. You can, let's say you have a report of 100, 200, 500 page PDF document. You upload it here by adding sources. You can create any number of notebooks, no problem. You create your own notebook for that particular purpose, add the resources for it, right? Sources for it. And based on the sources, you can ask question, you can create infographic, you can create report, you can create quizzes, you can create audio, video, anything. One of the very powerful tool I use, and I have introduced it here, and you can start exploring these tools, right? Nothing more than that. So if you have any questions based on this, we can discuss maybe another 2-3 minutes and we can conclude. Is it possible to share the presentation slides? Of course, I can share. Shall I put it in the WhatsApp group? Or it is like, I think, or else even I will try to put it in the chat.
Yeah.
I think I will try. So is there any way to upload a file?
Yeah, you can. Just file, yeah. So it's one like if you go to the chat window, like one is format, emoji, GIF, then the fourth one is the file option.
In I actually I'm using a Apple computer where
Oh,
in the chat
can you
I
drag and
couldn't
drop?
find.
Yeah. Can you drag and drop? Why is it possible?
I will try that. Where is those files? Uh,
Yeah, so in the meantime, actually, so this is a huge area to cover, and then so we are really fortunate that you covered like the gist of it, and then gave a good introduction to a very useful tool. Because some of the questions that we had, they are real challenges, particularly when it comes to the governance. So governments and institutions are just figuring it on the fly, but it's there to stay. So we have to somehow work out some frameworks or adapt to best practices elsewhere, and particularly in the academic setting, we have to rethink the mode of delivery and evaluation. So that's the best way to go about, rather than making the existing system more robust. It's about adapting to this new normal and coming up with creative means of actually assessing. Because when it comes to assignments or thesis, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, what do we really want out of these assignments and thesis? So as long as we achieve those objectives or the learning outcomes of those modules from the students, that is satisfied, right? So that is the part that the question we have to ask and devise or re-engineer the process of evaluation to suit that. So using AI is all right, but it's about what you get out of it. So that's what you really have to ask our students themselves. So the evaluation modes will change, right? So documentation, like they can perfect their thesis, but what is going into that and the material they have put it in, and do they have a good grasp of it? Can we check their understanding? Have they really generated that information and the research data, those things? So those checks and balances we have to kind of rethink and then formulate the evaluation process and the evaluation rubric according to that. And typically when it comes to written assignment, it's kind of like already outdated. So you have to come up with some, let's say, in-class assignments, so on the fly, pop quizzes. So these are the things, the formative assessment types will actually feed in a lot in terms of assessing their progress and things like that. So rethinking is actually required when it comes to teaching and assessment and evaluation. But when it comes to like these tools, actually there are challenges because, for example, Turnitin and different tools have different thresholds of classifying whether this is an AI generated tool. For example, Turnitin, anything below 20%, it kind of considered as a gray area, so it will not flag, but it will say, okay, there is some detected, but it doesn't have enough confidence level to clearly give you a quantified amount of AI content. But there are humanizers as well. So there are tons of tools actually, as I said, which detect the underlying patterns and then actually disrupts that pattern. So even a genuinely AI generated content may look like it is not generated. So again, if you're really a perfect writer with consistent pattern of writing, there is a chance that you might be flagged as AI source, right? So it's a huge area. When it comes to data privacy, it's again a vast area because particularly when you're using free tools, you have to be really mindful of what you put it in, particularly, right? That is very important. You don't ever put any proprietary or sensitive information or upload any sensitive information or proprietary information into these tools, right? If you have to do that, and you have to build your own LLM and run it in a private space. So that's how we go. But there's a lot more to talk about there. But I think this served as a very brief introduction and a good hands-on demo. I think most of us can immediately start using from day one. So we are really grateful to have you in this session. I hope a lot of us benefited and we had a really good participation here. And on behalf of the Batticaloa District Center and the Eastern Provinces chapter, we take this opportunity to thank Engineer Vinod Raj for taking time out of his busy schedule and committing to this and giving us a very clear, down-to-earth explanation towards giving us a very useful hands-on demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Valuvan. Yeah, as you have told, it's very vast area. So it's with the small time given, I hope I have I mean, kind of conveyed whatever possible things to or I have just disseminated the knowledge that I have got. So thank you very much, IESL, for inviting me to talk on this topic, and catch you on some other time. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.